When you go for a tarot reading, always prepare, because that's how you get the most value out of your reading. And that's our discussion topic for tonight at Luna and
And the
the Druid.
Druid. Hello.
Welcome, Luna, the high priestess of our channel. You look beautiful tonight.
Thank you. I hope I will have a face at some point because it's raining, and as we know, that affects my internet
Yeah,
connection.
well, at the
So,
moment, from where I am, you're bright and sharp.
yes, thank you. Yes, we decided that it's a really important topic to discuss before you go for a reading, before you decide to apply for a reading. Oh, apply for a reading, that's not the right word. But before you decide to find your tarot reading and ask questions, it is important to prepare. And today we will discuss why is it so important and how to prepare yourself and
Yeah,
how to approach this subject.
exactly. So it's about the preparation. Then, secondly, we will also uh, go to the point of what to do when you're in a reading, actions to take, or approaches you can do to make the most of that, and of course, the thing what you do after the reading when you get home, and you think, okay, what was said, what was said, how do I remember that, and how do I integrate it?
Mhm.
So that's our topic for tonight, and let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, can you, Jan, tell me about like a memorable reading which you remember, like a client who was either struggling or, for example, came super prepared, something which is striking out.
Yeah, well, as a reader at Holistic Fairs, of course, I do lots of readings just by people showing up, seeing that I'm there, sitting in, and 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 going for a reading. And I think at every show, every fair, the number of readings I do, there's always a few that stay with me, and in the positive and
Mm.
in the negative one. And the positive ones are always the ones that go in open, with an open mind, an open heart, wanting to hear the story, but also wanting to share their own story. Because
Mm.
on the other side of the spectrum, I have the clients that say, well, you're the reader, you tell me what my problem is. And of course, then I go, did you ever hear the term RDFC?
RDFC?
Yeah,
No.
it's coined by a tarot teacher, Emilia Elios. She wrote a lovely book, Read Like the Devil. And she says RDFC, which just means read the fucking
Oh,
cards.
oh
And when you get a client that just says, "You tell me," and just throws down the gate and leaves me all alone in the realm of spirit to look for their answers or even look for their questions, then I just pull out the cards, put them on the table, and read what I see.
yeah. Mhm. In
With the,
my,
and yep,
go for it. Sorry.
yeah, and when you do that, you get like cookie cutter meanings. Um, the bad side of it is that you get primary meanings, the most important meanings. Sometimes cards influence each other, so there could be some coherence. But since uh, one single tarot card can have 20 pages of meanings in a book, you can never get to the core. You get to the core because you pick the right meaning for that querent, for that person that sits opposite you.
Exactly. Or
And of course the cards speak big. The cards tell stories, but you always have to like a puzzle, put together the one of the card meanings and the story of the querent, and make that the part, and make that how the story rolls on, and in a very positive manner. I occasionally people at the end of the reading says, "Oh my God, this was a story," and that's when I know that I did something wrong, because I view tarot reading as an art. and the art
Mm,
I do is storytelling with the help of
mm.
cards, and it's a story that's built for a single querent, the one that sits opposite me. So it's for them and for them only, and it's a story will only be told once, not recorded, not reproduced. The story is only told once, and it's for them. It's a
Mhm.
unique piece of 30 minutes of blending our forces together to create something lovely. What about
In
that?
my experience, those people who come and say, "You're the reader, you tell me," are usually the one who are very skeptic. And sometimes I feel that I have to prove somehow of myself and my skills in order for them to open up. But what I love when that happens is how the wall slowly comes down and how their eyes are getting bigger and bigger. And the look on their faces is, how on earth does she know this?
Yeah,
But I think you touched on a really important point, because cards has a very broad perspective and broad meaning, not to mention when you add intuitive messages which come through, which is within my practice most of the time, apart from the meaning of a card, is there is an intuitive message, feelings I get, energy I read. Sometimes it's hard to be specific and pick on that specific meaning which this card wants to show. And that's why asking questions is so important. And of course, there are clients who want just a general reading, and perhaps we could talk about a type of readings we can perform and offer a client.
yeah,
However, the more precise, the better question it is, the better answer it is. The more, in other words, the more vague the question is, the more vague the answer may be.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Or the
because
more
of
cookie cutter, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
because of that
yeah.
wide spectrum. And recently I had a reading, which I'm not a biggest fan of recording a readings. I prefer to have a client
Hmm.
one-on-one. If it's online or in person, I usually work online, however, sometimes in person as well. And from time to time, I have clients which ask me for a recorded reading. And then the feedback I get is that recently I had a client who said, I didn't understand few bits and pieces. And that's why it is important to ask questions as well. If you don't understand something, because maybe I choose the energy, maybe I described it in a wrong way, or perhaps there is a situation which hasn't happened yet and maybe you don't understand. And that's why I love interaction, because when there is an interaction between the tarot reader and the client, the reading gets more meaningful because it can get deeper. um,
Bingo, there you have it. So that's more or less the reason, Luna, why we are recording this, because we're in this video or in this show today, we're gonna tackle that things. How do you prepare for a reading, and how do you act within a reading? So, um, what what do we think is the most the thing you ask yourself before you go to a reading? What would you say about why?
And that's the greatest question you want to ask yourself before you decide to have a reading. Why do I need this reading? What is the reason? Is it a guidance I
Exactly.
need? Are those answers? Do I want to know my future? Do I want to understand my past life experiences? What is my why?
Yeah. So it's all about intention and purpose. And that doesn't mean, and especially in settings like holistic fairs where I sit a lot, there's a lot of people just say, yeah, I saw, I was here, I saw they were reading, I didn't have a reading for many years. I thought, yeah, I could use one again. And so that's for guidance and inspiration, but also for entertainment. And if that's your why, I'm totally fine with it. There's no good and bad reasons, but ask yourself the reason why, and from there on, um, you can set your intentions and purpose. What do I want to achieve? And if you want to be, uh, if you just want to spend some time or have a nice conversation, that's already a good enough why. But ask yourself why, because from the why, you go to reason two, and that's. um from intention and purpose, you're formulating a question or you're formulating a topic to address for yourself, obviously.
Yes. Usually, in those readings, when there is no guidance from the client, when there is no specific question, as a reader, the big chunk of time we spend to read the energy and to see the situation. And that's where I start my readings as well. Even if there is a specific question, I'll always go and pull a few tarot cards to see what am I dealing with? What is that situation? What is the story? As you said, to find out what are the influence, what are we dealing with. However, when somebody, and there is nothing bad with asking for a general reading, don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
However, it takes a big chunk of reading for us to find out the story, because we will, cards will show us what we need to know. Simple
Bingo.
as it is, there is no hiding. And it's always funny when people want to hide something and it comes out in the cards, in the reading. um, so there is no way back from it. They have to go, even if they're trying to avoid this topic, it
Yeah.
comes up because it's needed, because the spirit guidance, whatever force brought
Yeah.
them to the card reader, will make sure that they will hear what they're supposed to hear.
That's it. That's it. And yeah, so that's the importance of asking for more than a general reading. This and it can start very simple. If you don't know, ask a past, present, future reading. Then you have already a small bit of a purpose, and say, and then from there give some guidance. What's the main topic? Is your love life a topic? Is your career a topic? Is money a topic? Is the housing a topic? Is purpose a topic? um, well, whatever can play in your life, whatever can play in your life, make that a topic. The hardest topics are, of course, health advices, and it gets even worse when, as a reader, they ask you to read someone else's situation, especially if that someone else doesn't know it and is not present. That's actually something I don't do. We will get to the ethics later, but so be specific in your question. Especially, I do email readings as well, and I always demand for the email reading, I want at least half a page A4 of background story,
Mm, yeah,
because
it is important.
you only get one one interaction moment. So you get the interaction moment when before the reading. I do the reading, send the result, and of course there's always good to give some feedback and ask, what did you mean by that, and that's all fine, but be specific so the result can be specific. The more specific the question, the more specific and the deeper the reading will go as well. That's like you said, when you don't have a question and the reader has to find the question first, and you have 30 minutes for a reading and use up 15 minutes to find out what to talk about. You could use the 30 minutes to go deep. That's 15 minutes, yeah, that don't give you the exact story of what you want to know. So, question, make a big question.
Yeah, that's like in life.
Yeah,
Questions will lead us to answers. And I
yeah.
think that the most important aspect of preparation is to find out why. What
Find
do I
the why
need?
and find the, yeah.
Yeah, what do I need from this reading to be more specific in terms of, is it guidance, as I said, or is it answers? So make sure to spend some time, quiet your mind, and just tap into your inner self to find those answers. And I can guarantee you, if you do that, things will come to your mind, things
That's
will
yeah.
flow, and you'll be able to ask good questions. And again, good questions means good answers.
Actually, in old legends, Arthurian legends,
Mhm.
Arthurian legends all relate to the Holy Grail. There's a Grail quest, and the knight that finds the Holy Grail doesn't find it to find the answers. The Holy Grail can only be found by the one, Sir Percival, who posed the right question. So What's the importance of the king? And then the Grail answered, the king and the land are one. That's the thing. So opposing the question is answering it, but that's the Holy Grail. That's how you find your Holy Grail. That's how you find what's important in your life. So, and then when you're not somewhere, but you're at home and you're thinking about a reading, you have thought about a question. Next comes finding your reader.
Yeah. Just before we jump into that,
Yeah,
actually, I think it would be a good to give an example of a good question and
yeah,
not so good question. For example, the most important, the most common, probably, or the one of the most common questions is about love. So the question which is like not very specific would be, will I find love? That's very often
mhm,
what I come across with clients. They use, where will I find love? And the answer may be very, very wide as well. However, I would ask a question like, what can I do to attract a healthy, loving relationship?
bingo.
Which gives the more specific question, and I can guarantee you that the answers will surprise you how accurate and specific they are. Clarity is here important, and instead of broad, what do I need to know right now, I would ask, for example, what should I focus on to advance in my career? And that gives the reading clear direction, which we talked about so many times today, how important it is.
How important it is to have a direction, to have some idea on where to look for, what to look for in a reading. Uh, like you said, be specific, go into details, go into minute details, and always ask for guidance instead of will I. It's better again. Uh, why and how? How do I attract a lover? How can I improve my chances to find a lover? And sometimes you don't even need a card, and you just say, "Are you going? Are you going out a lot, or are you locked up at home?" And when I'm locked up at home all the time, okay, well,
Yeah,
easy peasy, get out.
yeah,
And yeah, be specific, be detailed, and you'll get there. Or what cards can do very, very good is unearth a solution in a complicated puzzle where there are multiple influences, and this one works against that one, this one works against that one, and boom, where do I go from here? I have a complicated situation. Give me guidance, guide me out of this maze of complications, and cards
and
can do that.
of course, don't be shy to talk with your tarot reader and say, listen, I would like to know this, but I'm not sure how to ask this specific question. We will help you.
Yeah.
Because with the experience, we've done so many readings on so many different topics that it comes naturally to ask a good question. What I mean by good question is that one that cards will give a precise answer. So be open and speak up if you feel overwhelmed, even if you feel stressed and you forgot how to speak. Share that with a tarot reader, and then we will help you as well. However, we can't do everything for you.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember that as well.
Yeah.
Moving on, we'll probably come back to questions
Oh,
many.
we'll get back to things later in the reading part. So the last part before you go into reading is find your reader,
That's a very
and
important part, actually.
and 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 of course, if you know one, and we notice that all the times when you know one, when you've read someone's card and they're happy, they come back. That's easy. But when you're the first, or when you weren't happy with your last reading, how you find a new reader? Oh,
Hmm.
we have so many opportunities nowadays. Most readers have websites, Facebook profiles, Google profiles, and would have reviews there by other people. And a reader with good reviews, you can be trusted, or you can go to holistic fairs or tarot events, and you can just look at them. Um, what I hear a lot is people say, "Yes, you were sitting there, and the way you present yourself, or the way you market yourself, the banners and the brochures that are lying around, made me attracted. I felt attracted to you, or to the way you do that." So there's rational influences, which is the reviews and the website and the stories, and the irrational ones. That's your intuition as a goer. Your intuitive idea. Okay, that looks like a person I would like to have a conversation with. I might be able to trust and go there.
Trust your gut. That's a really important aspect. Another
Preparation.
great way of finding a good reader is to talk to friends. If you know that somebody has a tarot reader who they trust, the word of mouth is always a good way of finding
Yep.
your tarot reader as well, based on other people experiences. um,
Yeah. Yeah, and the same goes for like I do readings on also on location, not only on my own place, but on location, and that's only on locations that know me. So I'm vetted beforehand. So if in the shop near you is a tarot reader on a Saturday, on a Sunday, uh, you more or less can believe that this person uh, is known by the shop owner and is allowed in there. The same goes for the most of the holistic fairs. It's look, the guy organizing the fairs where I do has a waiting list of 20 readers. he
I'm
can
on
just
my list.
he can pick whoever he wants. And of course, in the waiting list are people like yourself, Luna, who are good and seasoned readers. But there might also be beginners, and he won't let you in if he doesn't have complete confidence that you're not going to screw up. And the shows are not that big, and they're sitting there themselves. I know that after my first two shows, people came back. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I was with that guy, and he was good enough. Yeah, he was nice, and uh, and that's how you got invited back again, And now I can just say at the beginning of the year, I wanted this and this and this show. That's that's how it works. But so you have to, as a reader, you have to build trust, and as a querent, you sometimes you need to trust the organization that promotes a reader. Where are they? What's their allegiance and stuff like that? And we have tarot associations. Being a member of that can also be an indication that someone is serious in their profession.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The experience here is important as well. Don't get me wrong. People who start, they need to start somewhere.
Yep.
However, the more with the cards and with this profession is the more you use it, the more you do it, the better you become at it because it becomes more intuitive. Because intuition is here the key. Uh,
Yep.
of course, you can read cards by meaning, you can read cards by guidebook. Absolutely, there is nothing wrong with that. However, the juicy stuff starts when the intuition kicks in,
Yeah.
when you get familiar with your cards, when you get your own meanings of those cards.
Yeah.
So that's an important aspect
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I would take it one step further, even that that we say it's intuition and knowledge. It's the
Yeah,
eagle for intuition and the owl for knowledge, and you bring
absolutely.
them together. And even like I say, there's a lot of tarot books behind me. I'm reading a tarot book all the time. There's always I don't only read tarot books, but there's always one in my cabinet that I'm reading at the moment, uh, and that I'm browsing through, and most of them I don't really read linear, but just look for new details, new information. So that's the owl part, and of course the owl part supports the intuitive part. It's like the concert pianist that has to go to the conservatory to be a brilliant pianist, but there's this musical feeling that they have to have as well. So it's a mixture of both. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we both bring that to the table. I know you're a constant student, and you do a lot of readings. You work hard, and yeah you're intuitive to a very high standard.
Oh, intuition is my main thing
Yeah,
in reading cards. This is how it works for me. I
sure.
always
Yeah, yeah.
I'm channeling messages rather than, and cards are the tools which open the door for me. They set a scene, they tell me the story, but at some point at every reading, I just push cards away and then things come through me. But that's how I work. And many tarot readers, card readers will work like this.
Yeah,
But to be honest, how many card readers is there? They will all have their own way of performing a reading, which is beautiful, and I absolutely love it.
all of them have. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
So then you made your choice, Luna. What happens? You go into the reading, either live or online or in person, at their place, at a place, wherever you are. Um, how do you go in?
Well, one of the things I would suggest is to be prepared to take a notebook, a pen, or I ask my clients if they want to record it. Even they absolutely can record it. It is important to not just listen but take notes, because there is usually within a card reading there is so many informations coming in that you will forget by the end of the reading. You will forget at least half of them.
Yeah,
So it's important to write down those intuitive nudges you get. Pay attention to how you feel. Is it a resistance? Because not always you will hear something you wish to hear. Sometimes it'll be something opposite. Sometimes will be something you would never want to actually hear. So it is important to pay attention to your own intuition, to your own, the way your body feels, and write it down.
yeah,
And um, write down the main aspects, the whatever is important for you,
yeah,
write it down.
yeah. What I always say at the end of a reading in person, take a picture of the cards.
That's
So
not a good
because
idea.
I work with NLP kind of strategies, so I tap cards, I move cards around on the table, so the cards dancing on the table, so the cards get imprinted with their story in the memory of the client, and then they take a picture, and then they can picture this card moving over the table, and why did it move, and where did it connect, and how did it work, and so picture is very important.
Mhm.
But even before that, when you go in with an open mind, go receptive,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
tear down, break open the walls, break open your heart for this personal connection with the person who is going to tell you your story. Share as much as you can. Also during the reading, uh, be honest. I recently had a client who halfway the reading said, "Yeah, well, I told you this, but it was actually that." I said, "Well, sure, yeah, you sent me on a mission. You sent me on a mission, in this case, even to the spirit world, with false information. You asked me to go for information about your brother." And then you said, "Oh, I actually wanted you to look for my sister, and you didn't. You didn't. You're not a good psychic because you couldn't read that I was lying to you.
Oh my God,
How
you're not a good
how
psychic. I mean,
how on earth can I go somewhere without trusting the one that goes opposite me? When you tell me a story, that's my truth at that moment. We're there together, we're working together. And if I can't trust you, I can't do the reading."
thank you for saying this because it's a really important aspect. We read cards, but it doesn't mean we know everything. We don't have a crystal ball which
No,
shows us your thoughts, your feelings.
no.
We don't.
When I
We
go
are
into a reading, this is not what I see
exactly,
about you.
exactly.
I
Like,
don't see it. I don't see a story.
yes, we don't know what's your life, what's your story, what is your life being about, where you are in terms of your emotions. We don't know that. Of
No.
course, cards help us to see the story. However, this is that false approach some people may have, that they think we are a walking crystal ball, that just because we are psychics we know everything. Oh my goodness, please God, don't ever 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 give me a gift like this, because that would make me crazy if I would know
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. So be honest, give feedback. Even more important, there's nothing wrong with halfway or three, four cards in. Ask a clarifying question.
Yes.
When there's
No, if
something
you don't
something
understand.
I tell you, you don't understand it. I remember this weekend I had a hangman for a lady. I say, "Oh my God, you're sacrificing. You're sacrificing a lot." She says, "Well, no, I don't. I don't understand it." So, well, what's your daily job? Oh, she says, my daughter-in-law is in the hospital for 2 months, and I care for the whole family every day. I say, "Oh, and you don't sacrifice a lot."
Mhm.
So ask guiding questions. If you think uh, the reader tells you something that's not there, ask, but why do you say sacrifice? And I say, what do you do? Well, obviously sacrificed a lot when you look for your son's family for 2 months. Yeah, but I don't see it as a sacrifice. Well, I said, well, I do.
Yeah, exactly, that's the power of changing the perspective, which we talked
Yeah,
about
and that's
actually.
a hangman too. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, it's a different perspective. So
Yeah.
be honest, be open, give feedback, ask clarifying questions. Um, my favorite card to show the relationship in the reading is in my tree of discs.
Mm,
We have a querent, we have a reader, and we have the realm of spirit. And when all connections between the three are open,
things flow.
we work together. It's
Yeah.
works. It's work. The tree of discs is about working together. When all it's one and one is three. It's working together, opening up, keep all the lines open. Don't send me into the attic of the spirit world while you're safely on earth. No, come with me into your attic. It's full with rubbish, and help me find the truth there. Help me find the good. Help me find the gold in that place of spirit. And
Yeah,
that's what
with the
you do together. That's the interaction.
Three of Pentacles, it's a beautiful analogy of how it works, because it's never just reader and the person, the client. It's always the spirit is involved, and the
The realm
flow
of spirit
needs
is
to be
involved, and the
free.
flow. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if there is a wall on the client side, we will find our way around it, but it takes time and energy, our energy as well.
Yeah,
And
and yeah, and that's how you create value. You create value by getting the most out of us, not by making us suffer. Well, you can like that, uh, and do a skill check with me. I'm fine with that. Do a skill check, and at the end, you go home and know, oh, that guy, yeah, he sees a lot. But what do you gain? I told you what you already knew yourself. I only brought it out. I'd rather go for hidden things. That's my favorite word. Let's go for some hidden stuff, some things you don't know yet, some alleyways you haven't discovered yet. Sometimes alleyways you don't even know that they are there. And let's let's tear down the walls of beliefs and limitations, give
yeah,
you inspiration and power to make more of your life. So
yeah,
yeah,
knowing Jan, and I can speak for myself, but also knowing Jan, the aspect of guidance is really important for both of us as a tarot card readers,
yeah,
because at the end of the day, we do this to serve you. We were giving this gift not to show off that we can read cards and have a big knowledge about it and it's all
yeah.
great and I have 100 decks on my shelf and oh, I'm so great. No,
No,
the most important aspect of this is to serve you, to bring you what you need to bring. And Jan mentioned that his favorite part is to discover the hidden stuff. I love to help people to find meaning behind the past experiences they had why did it happen, in order for them to understand the lessons they came here to learn. I love the spiritual aspect of everything what's happening, because I'm all about the soul. I'm all about the essence of us, not just the physical realm, but the other non-visible things.
Yep.
But maybe that's a separate topic.
So maybe we should go from here to what can the client then expect from us?
That's a really good
That's,
question.
that there's uh, things we bring in, not only the reading and the aspect, but I think um, a client can expect alternatives. And
Mm.
what do you say?
Every card reader is different,
Yeah.
and they all bring something unique and special to the table. We mentioned here intuition, our unique gifts. Some readers will be psychic, some readers will be mediums, so they will bring that aspect. Some readers, like Jan or me, are coaches, which can bring a different perspective from the life coaching point of view.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, those readers who are coaches know how to ask the best questions, because they know the value of a question itself.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
but
So
also, yeah, go ahead.
what do you think? Beside that, we'll get back to that later. What do you think that you can expect from every reader in every reading? What do you think
Honesty,
about that?
hopefully. Honesty.
Honesty, yeah.
Oh,
I would go for things like confidentiality.
that's beyond even discussion. Absolutely, you need to remember that if you go for a reading, it's a safe space where you can
Yes,
open up, and whatever happens stays there and it doesn't go anywhere else. Sometimes we may bring examples of a client who had this and that situation, but it's never personalized.
it's
It's
anonymous. Yes.
just to prove the point. And like, we never discuss those things even between each other. We never discuss a case of client, the confident
Privacy.
privacy is, I think, the
The
one of
same
the,
word. Yeah.
it's a must. And
Confidentiality and privacy. Yeah.
yeah, for me that's so obvious that I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
the safe space, that's another thing, that
Yeah.
there is, it's a space where you can open up. The more you open up, the more you will gain from
Yeah.
it.
So if you go from there, you give a personal approach, and that's also what you get from every reader. And
Yeah.
then a tricky one. What about honesty?
I'm glad you asked that question. Sometimes when I see something in the cards which may be tough, when I know that it's really tough, I ask the question, how honest do you want me to be, from the scale of 1 to 10? And I give the decision to a client, because sometimes we have to deliver bad news, in brackets, something
Yeah,
which will be hard to swallow. But in my practice, I've never heard a person saying, don't tell me what it is, or be gentle. No, they always want honesty.
bring
But
it on.
I like to prepare them that what they will hear, they may not like.
Yeah,
Obviously, my prediction that they won't like it, because some people may be, that's nothing.
yeah.
But Richard, just I saw a comment from Richard. Keep going, Luna. You can say.
You can say it. Yeah,
No, I can't. ADHD
of
kids
course.
in, that's no. It's
Yeah,
just like it's coming anyway. Doesn't matter,
yeah.
because now I'm
But
gonna be.
it's very good that you mentioned that, because um, from honesty also comes a follow up there, because you sometimes have to give assistance or help with negative aspects of the reading.
Absolutely.
And it's not all about, oh, the death card doesn't mean the dying, the death card means reborn, we, sometimes the death card is dying, is about dying. And then I always say we're all dealt the death card at birth. It's the first card you get when you're born. You know that that the process of dying has started. So that's not really helpful in that case. But I would always suggest, if something bad or something hard, difficult comes up in the card, be honest and open about it, like you say. Ask the client if they're ready to receive the message or the warning, and then help them to deal with the aspects. And always remember, especially in things that you have influences on, a card reading never gives something that's 100% certain it's going to happen. It's an opportunity, and it's an opportunity you can take or prevent. And sometimes that's the big value of a reading, that you can prevent something bad to happen.
Yes, that's the big point, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because as a card readers, we read energies for now, but sometimes something has to come up within a card for you so you could prevent it by changing that decision. Because at the end of the day, not every card reading will be precise and 100% accurate in the future, because of the one decision you may change after the reading, which will lead you to a completely different path. Recently, I had a reading which was very hard for me to deliver because the things which were in that reading were tough. It was about disease, it was about challenging stuff which were ahead. And through that reading, I had a feeling that all comes through, even though the situation it's not like this just yet, just to avoid it. So it was like a wake up call for that client that if you want change, this is going to be your destiny and it's going to be hard. So pay attention to what's going on now, because the consequences, if you want change, will be negative, but you still have time to make a different decision.
Wonderful. So when the reading is delivered, then you go home with hopefully maybe a recording, a photograph, some journaling notes, and then comes the moment as a client when we're out of the picture until the next time,
Mhm.
and your job is to apply and to integrate the lessons, the guidance, the inspiration, to integrate what you heard in the reading and what you want to take from the reading, what you want to change, uh, to overcome your beliefs. Yeah, to take action again.
Yeah. I would suggest to take some time to reflect, write down, journal the thoughts, the feelings, what resonated with you in the reading, how you felt, but also give it some time in order for the messages to fully integrate within you. Because in my practice, very often clients say that after a week or two, they understood something they couldn't understand just after the reading. Because in a reading, I mentioned that already, there is a lot of information sometimes coming, a lot of things which we discuss. And it's sometimes it's really hard to just concentrate and focus on everything. So things will intuitively even come after a couple of days, after a reading, that the deeper understanding of what the tarot reader was talking about may appear. Mm.
Yeah.
Are there any questions you would suggest to avoid during a tarot reading?
Um, of course, a few things I would definitely avoid, or in most cases avoid, is reading for ones that are not present. That's a part of the ethics.
Mhm.
You know, you're not going into someone's energy that doesn't allow you in. That's what you don't do. Uh, Small things would be, when the relationship is very tight. For instance, a mother asking about uh, her not adult child. You know, that's some guidance there. So there's a gray area in between there when it's very close, or even, but and then I usually go into the realm, the space where I say, let's see what this situation means for you.
Mhm.
in the future. So you bring it back to the current uh, through a sideway. That how is the situation you talk about, which I can't directly do, but how it has it workings on you? How it does your husband's behavior have working on you, or your wife's behavior, your partner's behavior, uh, stuff like that, and then avoid going there. Usually, especially in crowded environments, I'm very reluctant to go in too deep into the realm of spirit. Messages from the other side, uh, okay, but real proper channeling um, would require something else than just a tarot reading. Then I would go a reading with channeling, and that would be just a different story. More time, more preparation, more interaction with the querent than just pull some cards and do a Celtic cross or something. With when
Mhm.
you go in that areas, you'd have different approaches.
What about health and fertility? How do you approach that topic?
It was, that's a good example. I recently had a man um, on a reading, and he didn't ask for it. But he wanted kind of a general reading about family life and this and this and that, and up came some swords cards and some worries cards, and the ten of cups was there, but in a bad position, and I within 4 or 5 minutes, I asked the question. Um, you're wanting to build your family, but something's not right. Is there a fertility issue? Well, I was spot on,
Mhm.
and we could investigate in the reading some ways to approach it. You know, uh, there's different uh, regular health regular methods. There are alternative methods. There are just things like faith and everything, and you can talk about it without being too specific. And of course, you always, if it's health related, or there's medics involved, yeah, involve the proper medical involve the proper medical staff. That's doctors and everything. That's the right way, the right course of action in our
Mhm.
society. And actually, a week later, I I had another reading where fertility came up, and and at the end of the reading said, "Yeah, a week ago you read for my husband, and now you read for me." Yeah, things like that happen. Why did you ask that? How would you approach something like that? Or
Well, I'm usually very hesitant towards the health questions
yeah, yeah.
and fertility, and I leave it totally to my intuition if I can go. Because sometimes when I feel the block, then I said, I'm sorry, it's like I can read cards, but I'm not
Mhm.
good to give you an advice.
Yeah,
I do have few oracle decks which can support health journey. That's the Archangel Raphael, who's a healer of heaven, and I have a deck which connects with him, and there is some aspects of health. However, this may be tricky, so it depends on the client. It's very individual in that case. I usually tend to avoid fertility questions, um, because sometimes there are different aspects, and I may see something in the cards in the future that that person will have a baby. However, their lifestyle is doing, which will cause the opposite effect. So that's why I asked you the question, because I was curious, what is your approach? Because to me, it's that gray area, and it a lot depends on the client, and a lot depends on my own guidance I'm receiving from my spirit guides,
that's exact.
if I can do it, if it's safe or not. Usually, if there is a health issue related, it comes somehow within the card reading, pointing that there is a need for paying attention to that aspect of the life. We have a question from Richard. For people looking for a card reader, could you share what you feel may be either red flag or a green flag? Well, we talked about it a lot, actually. Um,
Before you
oh,
entered the show, yeah.
before, so we recommend to just rewind that live after we finish. But just to answer that question quickly, your intuition, if you feel that a person is welcoming, opening, if you feel safe, if you feel held in the presence of that person, either online or in physical contact, because it does, to me personally, it makes no difference if I read cards in person or online. um, and I try to give that same experience for a person who's in front of the camera as they would have in person, which is they see the cards, I tell them, I show them the cards, and we have discussion in real time. So that would be the green flag. And obviously, if you feel some kind of hesitation, if you don't feel safe, if you feel like closed off, or just trust your intuition, and your own gut feeling will guide you. um uh yeah, trust the, obviously Jan mentioned that as well, that the other people's experiences, testimonials are important here as well, and that's always a good
A good indication. Yeah.
finding, yes, if the reader is trustworthy, because there are many people who just do it for money. But in my opinion, you can feel that that person is not willing to help, but they rather want to do business with you. And that's nothing wrong with doing business, because at the end of the day, it's our job, and that's, we have to make our living. But in my opinion, you can tell if the person is genuinely helpful, if that person is doing this because they want to help you, guide you, or their main interest is to um, mm, get the payment and just, deliver whatever. So yeah, that
Yeah.
would be a short answer to that question. More is during entire this life.
Yeah.
Um,
So, Luna, I think we covered the process from the why in the beginning till the integration of the reading after. Uh, and I see we might have some time left for some other interesting stuff, our favorite stuff.
yes, we wouldn't be ourselves if we wouldn't pull a few cards. So I
Yeah,
will
and
space on my table.
yeah, you brought some today, didn't you?
Yes, I actually received a wonderful and a beautiful gift today, which was such a nice surprise to receive. I got a new deck. It's
Wow.
called Intuitive Life Coaching Oracle, and I'm super excited to use it, because I haven't used it before. I just did a quick reading for myself, just to infuse my beautiful, beautiful cards with my energy, and just yes. So it's a lovely deck, 77 cards. It's almost like a tarot deck
Wow.
of
There's one
beautiful,
missing.
beautiful insight. So today I brought some crystals instead of numbers. Number one will be a beautiful rose quartz crystal, which looks like a regular one, but trust me, it's a rose quartz crystal. For number two, it'll be this unicorn stone, beautiful, beautiful crystal. And last but not least, we have a clear quartz crystal as well. So, oopsie, I got tangled in my sweater, in my rings. How awesome is that? Anyway, rose quartz, unicorn, or crystal quartz. And as always, you know that I'm a big fan of pick a cards. So pick your crystal or number, and I will bring you an intuitive message. What is that you need to know right now? Maybe there is something you need to focus on. So what would be that? So I have cards for number one. It's actually a big deck, so it's not the easiest to shuffle. There we have number two and number three. Just, I don't know if you could see it, but they flew out of the deck. They just jumped. Okay. Number one, rose crystal, right? We have here celebration. Take time out to celebrate. So it is important for you to take time out and celebrate. enjoy life, as well as power struggle. Let me see what's. You may be involved in a power struggle between two or more people. So the way I see it is you may be facing a challenging situation, and but the way out is to just forget about it for a second and celebrate life. Go out, have some fun, go out for a walk in the nature, listen to some music, dance, and you will gain a completely new perspective. And I want to take the guidebook because there may be some good questions to ask yourself about this situation. So let me see the power struggle here. What situation in your life currently feels like a power struggle? Is it at work, at home, in social settings, or all above? In what ways are you contributing to this imbalance? How can you stop adding to this energy? Wonderful. Wow, I love this deck already. I can tell you that it's going to be used in probably every of my readings from now because it's amazing. The unicorn stone. Look at this crystal. It's so amazing, isn't it? I have one card here and it said, oh my goodness, spiritual gifts. You are in the process of developing and fine-tuning your spiritual gifts. So spirit is saying you are evolving as a soul. You may notice that all of a sudden you can hear, see, feel things you couldn't before. Or maybe you're already working with your psychic gifts and spirit is saying this work will evolve. You are growing, you are opening up, you are becoming more connected to the spirit realm. It's also maybe message for those who are thinking of creating something new or maybe taking a new path in life, like buying a first tarot deck. This is your confirmation. Do it because your intuition will guide you more than ever. And the question to ask yourself would be, what do you feel your spiritual gifts are? How would you like to use them? How could you be blocking the flow of divine guidance when it comes to developing your spiritual gifts? Those are the questions I recommend asking yourself because the answers will come intuitively. And last but not least, we have a clear quartz today. Two cards. Let me see. Oh my goodness. This is an interesting one because we have automatic negative thoughts. You are learning to take charge of the thoughts you choose to give life to. Those are in coaching, automatic negative thoughts are known as ants. And these automatic negative thoughts may be related to your love life because we have a soulmate here and it says this relationship is a match made in heaven. So perhaps you have struggles and difficulties around your relationships, which may be created because you have some negative thoughts, because you may be focusing on the negative rather than positive. Maybe that relationship is challenging. Very often, the soulmate will be a karmic relationship, which is designed to teach us something. So let me see what questions could we ask ourselves in order to find more answers? How can you neutralize those thoughts? I'm talking here about those negative thoughts. What life-giving thoughts can you focus on instead? So it is important to change those black and negative thoughts into something beautiful because very often where our focus goes, energy flows. So if we focus on the negative things, we will see more of that. And the more negative stuff we'll see, the harder it is to appreciate that person. What thoughts do you give life to that are causing you to feel overwhelmed? Are you stuck in a loop of negativity? So this may resonate with people who experience some challenges within the relationship. However, spirit is saying, yes, this person is right for you at this time because you were supposed to meet, you were supposed to have those problems, struggles, whatever it is that you're dealing with, because there is a deeper and higher learning behind that. Oh my goodness, I love this deck. Thank you so much.
Wonderful card, Luna.
Wonderful.
I hope we see more of them in coming episodes.
Absolutely, definitely. It's already
Um,
one of my
yeah.
top five decks.
Yeah.
100%.
Actually, we don't have time for me to do a full reading, but for the people who picked number two, like myself, that's the only one that the unicorn that only had one card.
Yeah,
Let me bring the second.
go for it.
I have my cards here. I just pull one out. The moon, the moon, of course. Now it's even more related to me.
Isn't it amazing? Not to mention that the moon card is the one we will do an extra episode on in our fool's journey, just on that specific card.
The specific card, the moon in the Thoth tarot, the ups and downs, the unseen horizon, the, the fluctuations that are there, the guardians, the choice between the wolf and the dog, uh, the initiation part of it. And can you repeat the message of your card? Because the match is lovely.
The spiritual gift, the question.
Yeah, yeah. No, the spiritual gift. That was
Oh,
the thing. Yeah,
you are in the process of developing and fine-tuning your spiritual gifts. And what
yeah.
is moon? Moon is feminine energy. And what is feminine energy? It's the intuition.
Spiritual gifts. Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, and yeah, you know, my birthday is coming up, and and I have a spiritual workshop in the weekend of my birthday.
Oh, wow.
So, calling spiritual gifts.
It's just amazing how this
Yeah,
all works. And I'm just looking
crazy
into
stuff.
this.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but what is important is to be gentle with yourself during that process, because sometimes it
Oh,
may be a challenging process.
it's a challenging workshop I'm doing. So that's
Yeah, so be gentle and trust the
I
process.
will, I will, and I will enjoy the company because it's a weekend workshop with other people, and that's
Mm,
that's where I shine. That's where my
beautiful. I'm
star
looking
shines
forward
brightest.
already, because look, the cards, I'm really drawn to those
No, but
flowers which are blooming and blossoming and
yeah,
opening up, because some of them are just
they're
not
just
developed yet.
sunflowers. Yeah.
And before we go, we have a question from Richard, which I don't necessarily understand. Maybe you will, Jan. Do you feel it is important to connect card reading with the astral landscape? I'm not sure what astral landscape means here.
Astral landscape. I'm not sure if it's about astrology. I, I was already picking this card. It sure is. We have all signs of the zodiac on the
Mm.
the sun card of the Thoth tarot, and if connecting cards with astrology is a big thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not every, but many cards have the
So
correlation
in the
with that.
major arcana, there's 12 star signs, so 12 astrological signs, and 12 of the major cards are related to them. It starts with the emperor, which is connected to Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, and then all the way around to Pisces, where we come back to the moon card again. So the moon ends the astrological journey. Then in between we have seven planets and we have some elements, like the fool is air, and the hangman is water, and
Yeah, and not to mention that the swords will be the element of air. It's less on the astrology. However, it's all intertwined.
it's all intertwined. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're in agreement. We're in agreement. Richard says, "Yeah, we're in agreement that um, especially when you use even the astrological signs in a reading, it can enhance the reading, like all kinds of. It's called correspondences. all kinds of correspondences, like even color correspondences or correspondences with the Kabbalistic tree of life. It's a lifelong journey through alchemy, through Kabbalah, through Platon, Platonism, through astrology, a lifelong journey to tie that all into one story. And that's why I always say my tarot deck, my Thoth deck, is the story of my life.
Mhm. Yeah. And to answer your question, Richard, so do you think it's important for a card reader to have knowledge of astrology? Not at all. You can perform an absolute great reading without it, but knowing the astrology will enhance and it will deepen up the reading for sure. But it's not always relevant. It's not always necessary to connect astrology with the card reading. It will sometimes make it deeper in sense of correlations and those aspects. However, it's totally not necessary at all.
There, you said it.
No, I hope you agree with me. If not,
We'll
then
fight it. We'll fight over it.
yeah. All right.
And with that, Luna,
I hope this was helpful.
yeah,
Um, to understand how important getting a card reading can be, because at the end of the day we serve you. We want to help you to understand what is going on in your life so you could take action in order to either change it, enhance it, or just simply understand what is going on. Mm. So thank you very much for being with us here. It was such a pleasure to talk about this, because I believe that it's not talked enough. And you obviously have the perspective of the tarot readers who know exactly what issues can be found within a card reading itself.
yeah. So when you're ready and can't find a good reader, you know the two of us.
Yes, we're available for reading.
Available for reading. I'll leave our both our websites in the comments or in the description of this video. So
Awesome.
contact us when you need one. Watch it again before you go in, so you're well prepared to make it not only hard on us or to make us work, but especially for you to get the most value out of the reading that we present to you.
Yeah, and so when our viewers can meet you in person during the next couple of weeks?
Um, I I have a few weeks without holistic fairs, but I'll be in Holly Cottage in County Cork in Coachford. I'll be in Galway for a long
Mm,
weekend, the 15th and the 16th, in the Ember Shop, and
great.
then the last somewhere around the 21st of June, 23rd of June, I'll be in Sligo.
Wonderful. More details on Jan's
On my website.
website,
Yeah,
yeah, events. Go for it if you'd like to meet Jan in person.
yeah,
Obviously, he does the online readings as well as myself. So feel free to book one and have a lovely evening. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Enjoy the rest of the evening. Goodbye.